A worn-out envelope filled with $50,000 lay forgotten on a crowded cafe table, and while dozens of people walked past without noticing it, one exhausted single father quietly picked it up. His shoes were falling apart, his jacket had been stitched together more times than anyone could count, and his wallet contained barely enough money to buy dinner for his little daughter. Yet instead of looking around to see if anyone had noticed, he spent the next hour searching for the owner. Watching from the corner of the cafe was a billionaire woman who had deliberately left the envelope behind as part of a private experiment after years of losing faith in people's honesty. What she witnessed over the following hours would completely change her life. Before we continue, if you believe kindness still exists, and that one honest decision can change a person's future, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Moments Hub. Your support helps us bring more emotional stories that remind the world why compassion still matters. David Harper had never imagined life would become so difficult. 3 years earlier, he had been a skilled construction supervisor with a comfortable home, a loving wife, and dreams that seemed within reach. Everything changed after a terrible traffic accident took his wife's life. Medical bills, funeral expenses, and months without steady work slowly erased everything they had built together. Soon the house was gone, the savings disappeared, and all that remained was David and his 7-year-old daughter, Lily, living in a tiny rented apartment that leaked whenever it rained. Every morning before sunrise, David took whatever temporary jobs he could find, carrying heavy boxes, cleaning warehouses, repairing fences, or delivering furniture. Every evening he returned home exhausted, pretending to smile so Lily would never realize how close they were to losing everything. On that cold afternoon, David entered the cafe simply to warm up while waiting for his next delivery assignment. He ordered the cheapest cup of coffee available and carefully counted his remaining coins. Across the room sat Victoria Monroe, one of the country's youngest self-made billionaires. Years of betrayal by dishonest business partners had made her cynical. She no longer believed genuine integrity existed without hidden motives. Curious and frustrated, she had begun quietly observing strangers, hoping someone would prove her wrong. Before leaving her table, she intentionally placed an envelope containing exactly $50,000 beneath a folded newspaper, then walked outside where her security team watched from a distance without interfering. Minutes later David noticed the envelope. His heart pounded as he opened it just enough to see stacks of neatly arranged cash. For one brief moment, painful thoughts flooded his mind. That money could erase every debt, pay Lily's school fees, buy proper clothes, repair their apartment, and finally give his daughter a safe home again. No one appeared to be looking. No one knew he had found it. Life had given him every excuse to keep it. But after taking one long breath, he quietly closed the envelope, stood up, and began asking employees whether anyone had reported losing something valuable. Nearly an hour passed before Victoria returned, pretending to search frantically around the cafe. David immediately approached her and carefully handed over the envelope without counting the money or asking for any reward. Relief appeared on Victoria's face, but what truly surprised her was David's expression. He looked tired, hungry, and worried, yet completely at peace with his decision. She offered him several $1,000s as a reward, but David politely declined. He simply explained that money which did not belong to him could never solve his problems without creating new ones inside his heart. Those simple words stayed with Victoria long after David walked away. Instead of returning to her office, Victoria quietly instructed her driver to follow David from a respectful distance. She expected to discover a comfortable home or perhaps some hidden reason behind his honesty. Instead, she watched him stop at a discount grocery store where he carefully compared prices before buying a loaf of bread, a carton of milk, and a small package of pasta. He counted every dollar before paying. From there he walked several blocks to an aging apartment building with cracked walls and broken windows. Carrying the groceries upstairs, he opened the door to reveal little Lily running into his arms with a smile that brightened the entire hallway. Victoria remained outside, watching through the apartment window from a distance. She saw David helping Lily with homework before cooking a simple dinner. She noticed him secretly pretending he had already eaten so Lily could finish the last portion without worrying. Later that evening, she watched him quietly repair Lily's worn-out backpack using a needle and thread instead of buying a new one. There was no luxury, no comfort, and certainly no hidden fortune. There was only a father sacrificing everything so his daughter could continue believing tomorrow would be better than today. For the first time in years, Victoria felt ashamed of how easily she had judged people. She possessed more wealth than she could ever spend, yet she had become emotionally poorer with every passing year. David owned almost nothing, but his honesty and love made him richer than many millionaires she knew. She realized integrity was not measured by how people behaved when life was easy. It was revealed when life became almost unbearable. Over the next several weeks, Victoria quietly learned more about David's background through legal and ethical channels. She discovered excellent references from former employers, a spotless record, and countless examples of him helping neighbors despite having so little himself. Instead of offering charity, she decided to offer dignity. One morning David received an invitation to interview for a facilities management position at one of Victoria's companies. The salary was higher than anything he had earned before, the hours were stable, and the benefits included healthcare for both him and Lily. David arrived believing it was probably a mistake. During the interview, Victoria finally revealed that she had been the owner of the envelope. She explained that she had followed him home because she needed to understand what kind of man would choose honesty over survival. David lowered his eyes, embarrassed that someone had witnessed his struggles. Victoria assured him she had not hired him out of sympathy but because trust could never be taught in a classroom. Skills could be learned, but character had already been proven. The months that followed transformed both their lives. David became one of the company's most respected managers. Employees admired his fairness because he treated everyone with the same respect he wished others had shown him during his hardest days. Lily finally had a safe bedroom, new school supplies, and the chance to dream without fear. Meanwhile, Victoria slowly rebuilt her own faith in humanity. She launched programs that created opportunities for hardworking single parents, believing that many people simply needed someone to notice their integrity before their potential could shine. Years later, during a company celebration honoring outstanding employees, David looked around the room filled with people whose lives had also been changed through second chances. He realized the greatest gift had never been the job itself. It had been the opportunity to prove that doing the right thing, even when no one was watching, could create ripples far beyond one ordinary afternoon in a cafe. One honest decision had rewritten the future of a father, inspired a billionaire to become more compassionate, and reminded hundreds of others that kindness still has the power to change lives. If this story has touched your heart so far, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Moments Hub, and tell us where you're watching from. Your support allows us to continue sharing stories that inspire hope, compassion, and second chances. Special request * before this story ends, please leave a comment with the words, "Honesty always wins," if you believe integrity is worth more than any amount of money. Life often tests people when they have the least to give, and sometimes the smallest choice becomes the greatest turning point. David never expected anyone to reward his honesty. He simply believed that character should never be sold, regardless of the price. In return, life gave him something far greater than $50,000. It gave his daughter a brighter future, restored one woman's faith in humanity, and proved that even in a world filled with doubt, one act of kindness can echo through countless lives. The richest people are not always those who own the most money, but those whose hearts remain honest even when everything around them tells them to choose otherwise.